Yo, what's good guys, but I'm Fire here back with another video.
And today we're going to be bringing you guys my New York Jets full offensive ebook. This has been one of the most highly requested videos that I have probably had ever on my channel. I'm really excited to bring it for you guys. So we have the New York Jets offense, which is by far and away the best offense in the game this year from what I've seen. Everybody's running it. There are 4 and 5 really good formations. You have a couple of other ones that I'll sprinkle in. Now, there will be a written version. I am going to have this on my pay hip. I'm going to be charging $5.99 for it, which I think is more than fair for the price and the amount of time. In this written version of the ebook is going to be every single play with every single setup, which coverages it beats. It's going to be bolded. It's going to be laid out very nicely for you guys to see. We include Xbox and PlayStation versions, so if you want to purchase that, which I would highly recommend, it's going to be down below in the description, and I will also pin it in the comments section. So I do advise you guys to check that out. It's going to make this a lot easier to understand. Of course, you're getting all these setups in this video as well, so you don't have to pay for it, but it just makes learning the offense a lot easier in my opinion, because you have everything laid out. I'm going to be looking at the ebook when I talk about the video, but yeah, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now, we are going to start out just talking about what we have here. We have bunch, we have a nice trip tight end offset, we have a bunch strong offset, really good plays in here. We have a bunch tight end, and we have a bunch gun tight offset tight end. So all in all, we have about 4 really competitive formations and about 3 meta formations that are really good. There's some other good stuff that I won't even be talking about in this video, like any under center stuff at all. There's good stuff. You have a deuce close that is solid. And again, in the ebook, the written version, I didn't show any of the run plays, but if you're following along here, you'll understand. So also I show audibles. I talk about which side of the bunch it's on, pretty much a lot of good extra stuff. So starting out with our audibles for this gun bunch, and I'm going to try and go as fast as I can, but we have a ton of setups, so stick with me here. I'll try and chapter this out, timestamp it so you guys can see which formations happen at which times, but we're going to start out here with deep corner at our X audible. I like verticals, bench pivots, and then I'm going to throw inside cross in here. Again, there's some other good plays in here. We just don't have time to show everything else. If you want a full explanation on bunch, you can check out that video I did a couple of days ago. That is West Coast, but there's a lot of plays in here like Z-spot that we don't talk about in this video. So we're going to start out with the deep corner play. And again, defensively, I'm going to be switching between man, zone, pretty much everything. So let's throw, I just want 2 men under here. And without further ado, we are off to the races. So starting out with our first setup, we got deep corner. What we're going to do here is just streak B, drag X, block Y, and then we're going to motion out B, Alan Lazard. Pretty simple setup. You have a corner out, flat, and some other stuff there that you like. First read is going to be the flats right there. It's going to be a solid read that you just cannot go wrong with, honestly. Again, one thing I would be saying this year is throw the flats until you can't anymore. It's going to be a concept that you want to take advantage of. If that is covered, you can, of course, go over the top here to Mecole Hardman. He is going to be doing some nice work for us in this video. But overall, it's a solid setup. Again, I like to keep Madden simple. You don't want to go with crazy setups. Your next read is going to be this drag. Now, the drag won't do a whole lot for you, especially early, but if he can pass over, he's a really good bailout option. For example, if you're forced to flush, roll out, then he can be a nice option to throw it to. One more time, here is your setup. Like if you threw it there to the drag, he would be open, you'd be able to catch it and actually run up the field. So that is kind of what your options will be looking like. Moving on to our next setup, what you're going to do here is we are going to use streak. Actually, we can run it stock. That was something I didn't mention, but you can run this play stock. Now, it's not going to be great, but it's something you can do. You can actually hit B in the middle of the field here. As a post option, you have the in route, but it's not great. I don't really run it stock too often. It can be good for quick snapping, though. Anyways, our next setup is going to be streak RB, put A on a little in route, put X on the comeback, and then block Y. This is going to be your cover 3 beater. So if you get the time, you should be able to fire this over. Now again, ideally you would have a way faster receiver than Alan Lazard, so it's probably going to be better flipped. Actually, what I'm going to do, since we are running the bunch from this side, I'm going to put Garrett Wilson over there because I want more speed and I like some better personnel options. So no offense to Alan Lazard, but you are not going to cut it for us. I'm going to leave Corey Davis there. He's probably a little bit better. But again, it's a really good cover 3 beater. And as far as the way to think about cover 3 beaters, you'll see a couple that you'll recognize from probably the Madden 20 days. Madden 20 and Madden 21 days, you will recognize a few from there. And that's kind of what this game feels like almost. It does feel a lot like a Madden 20 type of a game. But if you hang in the pocket, you can fire it over there to Garrett Wilson. Sometimes you'll have enough space to get a touchdown, but even without the touchdown, you're picking up a ton of yards. And again, with A, you can drag him, you can throw him on an in route. And if you're facing pressure, you can of course throw it early, but you have space to catch it and crib it the way that we just did there. So that's going to be your cover 3 beater. Next setup is going to be to streak A, put B on a little out route. And what we're going to do here is just block our running back. Again, with X, you can throw him on a drag, but you can leave him on this in route as well. Now, this setup is going to be specifically good against a cover 2. So if we go to a cover 2 here defensively, this is where I like this setup. So we get the time. Ideally, you want to throw it a little bit later than that. So I probably threw it a little bit prematurely there, but we will, once again, audible. It's going to be better if they press as well, which you will see a lot of people do, especially if they're running the dollar version, which I do expect most people to be doing. So if you wait, you can fire it over the top like that, and that is where it's better. Again, you also see the out route is wide open, so really you have both routes open. That's, of course, the easier pass, but you have both open, so they can definitely both work. Our next setup is going to be just to drag A. We're going to block our running back, put to B on a little in route, and then what we're going to do is motion out Garrett Wilson here. This was a setup that we showed once again. And the other thing, this is just a decent spacing concept. Really, it's a good man coverage setup as well. You may feel a little bit clustered with this, so maybe you just want to throw X on a little streak. You could also just run it like this with a little post route, but I like going with the in route. I wish I could motion snap him, which we do get there. That is where you have more space, and I like to throw this pass because it's not something they're following. They're going to go corner out. They're going to probably go drag aggressively, so that's a nice pass. But let's move into our next play, which is going to be verticals. With verticals, the first setup I like against cover 3 is just to streak the running back here. That's going to open up both seams aggressively for you to throw. We got Conklin right there. The tight end wheel is going to dominate against the cover 3 defense. The next thing we got is going to be Breece Hall over here. It's a little bit tougher, but you can wait, throw it, and I would probably possession catch it because your running back's going to have a low catcher rating unless his name is Christian McCaffrey. So that's going to be your first setup. Next setup is going to be drag A, put the running back on a little out to the right, and I like running it like this. This setup, I love throwing to McCole Hardman. Now, this is also a setup that you can run from the short side of the field just to give yourself a little bit more space for that crosser potentially. If you're looking to throw that crosser on the sideline, that is where I probably would not run it from this side of the field. But if you want to throw the crosser in the middle of the field, you have a lot more space to throw this pass, and you can actually rack catch it. Although you are kind of throwing it from similar parts, so it is really whatever floats your boat, honestly, like most of this stuff. So it's dealer's choice. But they both, of course, work. If it's a cover 2, which it certainly could be, what you can do is maybe you want to motion Garrett Wilson out, give yourself some space over there. Against cover 2, Corey Davis does get open as well, potentially. So that is where you can throw him. And I definitely like motioning him out this year to get that open a little bit earlier. So that is an option against cover 2. We're going to go back to the wide side of the field here for our last setup. And our last setup is going to be to throw A on a little curl here. We're going to put running back on and out to the left. And then I like motioning him out. Now with Conklin, you can do a couple of things. You can go out route. You could smart out that out route, something like this. Or you could go curl route. It's really up to you. If it's man coverage, the curl is going to be pretty good this year. Spacing-wise, he does a really good job of holding zones. But this probably is more of a man coverage setup. You see we actually throw a pick there. But this setup, is really more for man coverage, I would say. Just giving yourself a couple of options. So he's going to sit in a good spot in the zone if he doesn't get bumped 20 times, but that's one of the weaker setups. I just threw it in. Give yourself something else for verticals. But let's move into the bench pivot here, and with bench pivot we have 3 setups. First one, streak RB, put B on an out route. And then what we're going to do is drag X, and I like throwing Y on a little wheel route. So here is your setup for that. Just some good stuff all around. Give yourself a couple of options. Tight end is going to be a challenging throw if it is cover 3 and you're not motioning anybody out. So you kind of have to try and throw him a little bit earlier. Because if you wait, it's tougher against cover 3 because that outside third will do a pretty good job of playing it. You can block your running back on the setup if you'd like, but you want to throw the tight end like right here. That is the spot. You cannot wait for him. You see the out route is wide open though as an option. So that is going to be our first bench pivot setup. Our next setup is going to be B on a little streak here. We're going to throw RB on a flat with our running back. I like to throw him on a little out route to the right, and then with X, he's kind of in no man's land and go curl route. I messed something up, but this is what it's looking like. With B here, I didn't. You can actually maybe motion him out if you would like. It's not. You don't have to though. You can kind of throw B here in the middle. It is a tough throw, but you could maybe fit him in. Probably what I would do for this is actually motion out B. So I need to update or maybe update that on the ebook, but overall, the setup should be pretty good. You don't have to do any of the other things. There's, you see, is kind of the window you have for Garrett Wilson, a little bit better than the last time. And the tight end window is going to be kind of the same. This isn't the play that I run too much this year, but it can work, of course. You have some bailout options. If it's man coverage, you can throw it to Corey Davis over here, or you can hit Breece Hall here later in the play cycle. He gets really good spacing over there, and you can kind of cut it back in. And again, with the tight end, you have a little window, but really what he's doing is clearing out some other stuff, which you like to see. So let's hop into our last bench pivot setup here. And with this setup, what we're going to do is slant RB. We are going to streak, throw B on a flat. We're going to streak X, throw our running back on a little out to the left. And then what we can do with Garrett Wilson is motion snap him like so. And this is going to give you the big window against cover 3. And I will also show it against cover 2. Against man coverage, you have the little slant option, which you like, and then you have a couple of clear outs. So overall, the setup is pretty good. And again, I like these basic setups. I need to go to cover 2. And against the cover 2, if you get the time, I hard flatted there, but you can throw this. That was a god-awful pass lead, but you kind of want to pass lead that out. But that's going to do it for bench pivot. Let's move into our next play, inside cross. Again, I'm trying to go pretty fast here because slide. So drag RB, flat B, and then we just want to motion him out. Boom. So give yourself a couple options. Cover 3, you have this wheel route. You have the C route, and then you have just a couple of drags that you're really trying to hit. So just a good pass for short gain. It's really good against man coverage, in my opinion, as well. So you're giving yourself a couple of options there. Once again, inside cross, drag RB, flat B, and you can motion snap Garrett Wilson over there, and that will open up Conklin. Throw it there. Make sure you get a tight end that can catch, because you see we're throwing a lot of contested stuff here. Not necessarily my goal, but that's your first setup. Your second setup for this is going to be flat B, and just keep the in route. So that gives you a little something deeper. This is really going to open up your boy Breece Hall. So if he's sleeping on that running back route, or if it's a man coverage look, the middle of the field is going to be open for that in route, and then you can hit Breece Hall. So that's really more of a man coverage setup. And then we have one more play out of this gun bunch. It's going to be something called corner out dig, I think, if my math is correct. It's going to be there on that left side. My face is covering it, but it's corner out dig. And with this setup, we have one setup, and we're just going to streak B here. We're going to throw Y on a little out route to the left. And with this play, you give yourself a little hook. You have a deeper corner out, which I like. And then you have just a little kind of basic stuff. So it does run deeper. So with cover 3, what you want to do is probably motion B out. And this is why watching the video is helpful, because I don't necessarily say this in the ebook, but you go something like this against cover 3. It's very similar to a Z-spot. He does run a little bit deeper though, so it's almost Z-spot exactly, just with a couple of different routes. But cover 2, it would work stock. So you can go back to this setup that we ran, and this would work against cover 2. Boom, throw it there, or you could obviously wait if you're not being pressured. So that is going to do it for Gun Bunch. Our first 15 minutes, not making pretty good time. And then what we're going to do is hop into Gun Trips tight end here. So Gun Trips tight end offset. And with Gun Trips tight end offset, what we're going to do is, sorry, something weird was happening with my Google Doc here. I don't know why. So we're going to refresh. Alright, that glitch is gone. For some reason, the logo I have in this Google Doc was like showing up everywhere. But we're going to hop back into Gun Trips tight end offset now. With this formation, it doesn't really matter actually, because the icons shouldn't change in this, I don't think. Maybe they do. But the setups that we're going to have for this are going to be... I didn't actually know X under was in this. I might have to update the ebook as we go, because I checked Madden school. They don't have all the plays right because X under was not in this, but I am going to have X under here, so I will add it to the ebook once again. The ebook is like glitching badly. This is so stupid, but whatever. Crossers and tight end in. So let's go ahead and throw those in. X under. We have PA crossers. Let's go with level sail, and then let's go with tight end in. The other play that I like is read option out of this, but you can go either RPO alert bubble. So you can go with a lot of other stuff. I'm going to start out with X under because this is the play that we're freestyling now, because I didn't have it ready. I didn't know it was even in this playbook. But with X under, what you're going to do is you're going to, I like to actually just kind of run it like this, with X going on a little zig, B going on a little streak here, or actually you could leave B. So I typically go X on a little backside slant actually, and then what I like to do is usually motion snap him. Should be able to motion snap him right about there, and he gets a really good angle because he's running that just so shallow. So you can do a lot of different things with him. You can go slant. Some of the other things you could do are going with a little out route. You could go zig route. You could go drag. So you give yourselves a lot of options. He's gonna pull down these zones ideally if you went drag. So that could be an option. If you go out route, it's not really going to do that. Over there on the right, you have the table and the corner out. Not too much that you can do with those guys, but Garrett, if he's going to play it deep, which he does because of the corner out, you can hit him very easily. So that's one option. Another thing you can do is just streak Garrett Wilson over here. And this is going to be trying to open up the corner out, which should over here. That corner out should be good against man coverage. If you can kind of loft it over the top, I would highball, because if you pull it, it will be intercepted. Another thing you can do with Hardman is you should be able to motion him in a step. If you would like something a little bit shorter, then you can kind of do it like that, probably against cover 2. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but another concept that you can kind of follow with that would be just to throw him on like a little streak here, a little delayed streak. And this will put him in a beautiful spot in the seam to where it's delayed, and he gets a little open window. So those are kind of some of the concepts with X under, you guys. I love this formation. I might probably drop a separate video on this formation just because I think it's really, really good. Some of the other things you can do are going with like a little zig route over here with Lazard. Then with A, maybe you go with an in route or something else just to get something in the middle of the field. But this really opens up that corner out a lot more. You have the zig route that's probably wide open as well, and if it's man coverage, he's going to eat on that. You could, again, throw Garrett Wilson on this zig route. And sometimes he gets this weird release, which kind of helps us. But out route, you can go flat route, you can go drag, and you can go slant, and these all should work. So that's going to be X under. Let's move into the actual setups that I have on paper now, and we're going to start out with PA crossers. PA crossers, if you didn't know, crossers are really good this year. Rollout crossers are even better. So those are things that you want to definitely take advantage of. Now our first setup for this is just going to be drag A, and we're going to throw our B here on a little out to the right. So that's what we're going to do. Snap the ball, and this is going to create a little window for us to throw it maybe, or not. This would be a better play against man coverage. So I would go cover 2 or man coverage if you're going to run that setup. Actually, again, I'm updating this ebook as we go on the paper, so this is going to be better against man. These crossers are really good against man coverage this year, so you have your drag that should be able to get a little bit of separation, and then that running back route should, of course, be solid. If it is a Tampa 2, I think the crosser will be a little bit better off. If you actually let it get developed, he should be able to get over the top of the cloud flat, which he does there. So cover 2, if he's running like a DB fire, those crossers should eat. You can throw them a little bit earlier as long as it's over the top of that vertical hook. Alright, so our second setup for PA crossers is going to be throw A on a streak. We're going to drag Y, put X on an in route, smart route X. Now you can also keep play action. That's going to help you against blitzes most likely. So this setup is one of my favorites. It's more of a flood concept, but it's just going to open up a lot of different things over here. If it's man coverage, it should be really good play. Cover 3, you have a couple of different options. Now that in route does take a bit to develop, which is one of the things I'm not the biggest fan of. So if you want to do something a bit different, you can go like this, and then again you can motion Garrett Wilson in here, which is a concept that I take advantage of a lot, and this is just going to speed up the play. Now I'm not the biggest fan of that because I don't like the spacing between the in route and the crosser there. But what you can do to cancel that is just motion in McCole Hardman from that slot position while he is on the drag. So run it like this. You can motion in McCole Hardman a step here. And this is just going to give us a little bit more space. With the crosser, a lot of times I find myself throwing it here. Now, another thing you'll see people do with this formation is they may not run it on the wide side the whole time. I've seen people go 2 trips on the short side of the field like so. Now, if they're doing this, what you can do is you have a little bit of a probably better window to throw this crossing route near the middle of the field, actually. Like, you can throw it here. You have a lot more space to, like, possession catch it. So that is something that you'll see a lot. I see way more frequently than I used to, where people will run trips on the short side. I'm not just the biggest fan. I feel like it's really congested. But if you're using a lot of motion, it can be a solid concept for sure. I'll show it one more time here. So you have Garrett Wilson. This allows you to throw it to McCole late as well. So you have a little bit more space for that. Maybe it is a bit better. So our next setup is going to be put X on a little slant. We're going to streak A. We're going to put RB on a little swing route over here. And then I'm in the wrong play. But we're going to put RB on a little swing route, and then we're going to motion over Garrett Wilson. You can block the running back if you want, but this is a good man coverage setup. It's going to be good against cover 3 just spacing-wise. You can throw this little slant here. Preferably probably actually lowball that. But if it's going to be pressed man-to-man coverage, this play should definitely be a pretty good beater. Now, what you can also do is throw Brees on a little out route here instead of a swing route. Feel free to do that if it's man coverage, because he's going to work a lot better against that, and he's going to get open. So now you see you have better separation here. I guess not. Garrett Wilson, you got to cook end in there. That is more skill than the actual routes. You guys know slants should beat man coverage, but the crosser will always beat man coverage, or at least 99% of the time. So that's a good bailout. You have Hardman here in the middle of the field. If it's cover 0, he could get open. You also have Brees Hall, so you see you give yourself like 3 options against man. It's going to work, and again, it should work against cover 3 and cover 2. So let's go to our last setup here out of the PA crossers, and what we're going to do here is we're going to throw Y on a little zig route. We are going to throw X on an in route. We're going to smart out X, and then what we're going to do is put A on an out route, block our running back. So you can keep the play action. Once again, I'm in the wrong play, which is just amazing, but you can keep the play action here or not. This is just another spacing concept. You want to throw B in that gap, so probably actually a better setup again from the short side. If you want to throw the crossers, the short side is probably a little bit better, but I like to mix it because X under from here would be pretty tough to run. But again, the spacing works. It has its pros and cons because I like this in-route concept and zigs from the other side of the field a little bit better. You just have more space. But take a look at B over there. He gets a lot more space. They did bite on the play action, which doesn't happen every time, but nonetheless, you would have the same timing where it's going to be open. So you guys can kind of understand that. So pretty much that is going to do it. I'm just going to update some things in the ebook so I remember. And let's move into our next play, which is going to be the level sail. Now with level sail, this is going to be a play that I don't run too often, but it can be good. What we're going to do first is streak B and just drag X. Solid little spacing concept. You can hit this streak in the middle of the field if they are fast asleep. Again, a lot of people will see that table route kind of run over there, because if they aren't following the table route, what you can do is a lot of times hit Brees Hall here. If it's on the short side, you can definitely hit him as well. So feel free to take advantage of that. Again, you have the corner out. The corner out doesn't typically do much, but you can kind of click on, fit it in here. It's a tough throw. Maybe you can freeform it a little bit better. But it can be a decent snap throw as well. So with him, you can kind of throw it here. The linebackers play those passes a lot more this year, so be careful doing that as well. That would be my advice. Again, your other reads are going to be drag late. The drag, it does get a lot of space because you have the deep in route and the deep corner route from the tight end, which push those linebackers up. So I love the drags coming from that side because you can really throw it fast and it's difficult to read from a user perspective. Now, depending on the coverage, you see how our slot receiver is getting bumped. It's bumping up the drag route. Things would be a little bit different. This play is not going to be really good against man coverage. I would keep that in mind, but it will be good against those zone coverages. Next play is going to be to streak B, drag X. And what I like to do for this setup is to motion over B. This is going to open up your corner out against cover 3 and cover 2 a lot more. So take a look. It opens up Brees Hall as well. But now we have Conklin here, and he can go to work. So that is a concept that I definitely like with this play. Again, you still have really all your reads on that left side with the drag and everything, but this is just going to open up a few more things, kind of creates a doubles look, and now we can throw it to Brees Hall here, probably throw it a little bit earlier or run it from the wide side of the field or the short side. Again, this is another reason people like short side, because you have more space for the tight end to go on things like corner routes, so and it also gives the running back more space. So motion snapping, as far as that goes, I wouldn't do it. It's not a good concept, but the tight end, he can work here a lot, so you can get a little bit more yardage. Last setup for level sail, streak B, drag Y, put X on the in route. You're just kind of running it vice versa. So this doesn't change too much. It gives you a little bit of an earlier window and potentially more rack with Hardman. It reduces the risk against zone coverage of him really being pressed. So that is something that I do like with that setup, but you're not changing a whole lot here. Again, still not going to be really great against man coverage, but I ran the wrong setup here. I like that spacing of the drag a lot, especially combined with the table route and McColl's speed. So that's kind of a thing that would be decent. But let's go to our last play, tight end in. With this play, what you want to do is throw X on a drag route. We're going to flat B, and then all we have to do is motion over B, and this is going to be our setup. So I like Brees Hall here. Take a look at his wheel route. It runs really good. I would possession catch. I love the possession catches this year, by the way. So I would possession catch that. But that is definitely a good play. And this is a concept that I would maybe run from this side of the field as well, just giving yourself a little bit more space to work with this wheel route. So Lazard is a player that you can also really throw here if need be. Sorry, stupid defensive controller that I have set up. It buzzes. I need to turn vibrate off. But this concept is really good. I like this play a lot. I will run it once or twice a drive if I'm running trips. So it's solid. Your other reads, you have a little seam route. They're not great. You really want to fit in that wheel route. So if not, you have a couple of other broken routes that you can hit. So that is going to do it for our gun trips tight end offset. Let's go ahead and move into our next plays, which is going to come out of the gun tight offset tight end formation. Now with this formation, what we like here is going to be one sec. So sorry, since this isn't being really edited, there's going to be stuff like this. But gun tight offset tight end. What do we like out of here? Now, one thing you can do with this formation is you can go wide receiver or a halfback one package. What this does is it gives you 4 wide receivers if you'd like, which is probably what I'm actually going to do here. Or yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Get some more speed out there. And so if you have 4 good receivers, you can do it. I like tight ends this year, but this could be a good option. So our audibles for this formation are going to be as follows. We're going to have Y out. We are going to have inside zone. We're going to have PA seams, and we're going to add 2 have spot. Now there's a couple of honorable mentions. I might drop a separate video on this formation as well. Bench is a good play. We don't talk about it. Inside zone, again, a lot of these formations have good runs, like trips tight end offset has a really good read option. I'm not going to show it. There's no point to show it because you guys already know. Running the ball is not something I have to really explain unless we're doing a separate run formation video. But we have a good 0-1 trap in this formation and a good inside zone. So we're going to start out here with the Y out play. This was my favorite play for a while, specifically in Madden 20. It was really good. I used it in Madden 17 as well, believe it or not. And with this play, what I like to do are block my running back first, drag A. Simple setup. You have 2 drags. You have a little post route that you can maybe fit in here if it is base aligned specifically. And then you have a corner route that you can maybe fit in short side. Now, this isn't really as comp this year, but in Madden 20, that corner out would eat cover 3 alive. This year, the curl flats won't jump on the drags as much, so what you want to do is just throw the drags. You have 2 drags. You can throw them a little bit later to where it's probably better because then you actually wait to see what the user's doing. So that's something that you can do. And then you have guys like Corey Davis that you can fit in here, aggressive catch if you're going to take a hit, or go ahead with the possession catch, although you have probably a higher chance to drop it doing that. So just a good quick snap setup. You can catch someone within adjustment. Out of tight, I'm stepping up in the pocket a lot, so that's something I would practice. Out of tight and bunch, you have to do that, so keep that in mind. That's going to be your first setup. Your second setup is going to be just throw X on a little streak here and drag A. I didn't say it, but you can also motion out X. This is going to open up your corner out. I like running this on the short side of the field specifically because it will just glitch out those zones won't have time to recover. So I like doing that. You can motion them out as well, but it does kind of give away what you're doing. So this is what normal cover 3 would look like in years past with just the drag, but you kind of need the streak this year in order to open it up, that corner route. But you still have the drag and you still have Corey Davis over here. Again, don't sleep on this route. You can lowball it, you can freeform it kind of behind it as well. I'm not using freeform at the moment because I've been still testing some stuff out with it, but Y out, this formation is really good this year. I need to run this more online, but I think this formation is really good. The good thing about this playbook is that you can really switch between all of these. You're learning all of them. So if one game you want to run tight, you can, or one drive you want to run tight, you can also do that. Next setup is going to be to throw A on a little hitch, X on a little zig. This is just a good spacing concept that I enjoy. A is going to do a really good job of holding down zones, or if they don't have a zone there, he's going to be a nice little check down or a guy that you can playmaker. I accidentally quick snapped, but I liked this play. It's probably not as good as it was in years past, but this was a go-to setup of mine. I like the zig and corner out concept over there. It opens up the zig more times than not, but it is a good concept against man coverage as well. You'll see more of that type of stuff. So if you go to man coverage here, you could also go double zigs which I kind of do next play, although I don't. But double zigs would be good against man. Now this formation again, the reason you could have trouble in it is because of pressed man-to-man coverage. Those guys will get pressed this year, so it's difficult. Keep that in mind. You see everybody in this formation gets pressed, but you can also burn it like Corey Davis did there. So you have man beaters, which is why having abilities to corner out certain players would help. But next setup, or actually, where was I going to do? Never mind. That's the wrong thing. Okay, so next setup is going to be Zig A and Flat X. This is just another kind of just changing up a few things, giving yourself some space. You see Garrett Wilson pick up 10 yards over there. So just throwing these different routes, and again, this is one play. You combine all the plays, and then you combine the whole playbook. You will be sitting really good. Over here on the left side, the flat does a really good job potentially opening it up. Now, again, still not a pass you can throw against stock cover 3, but it would really work well against cover 2. So if you're facing DB Fire 2, which is going to be the main cover 2 play that you will play ever, then this is going to be a good concept with the flat route over there. You just fire it. If you have the time and you can wait, then you can hit the corner route. So there's that setup. Next up we have is going to be a cover 3 beater. What you can do with this play is all you really have to do is streak A, and with RB you can throw him on a little route like this. This is a really good man coverage play, and it's also going to kill cover 3 if you get the time with B. This is a video a play I might make a separate video on. So if you're watching this far in, you get the inside scoop early, but this is a really good cover 3 beater. And this is one of the reasons that this formation is tough, because this is a cover 3 beater that was used a lot in Madden 20, and it works way better this year than it did like in years past. In years past, those outside thirds actually played it, but again, make sure you're running this with the running back facing the wide side. Corey Davis is not the fastest guy by any means either. You don't have to have the drag either. You can go with some of the other setups, like the little zig over here if you'd like. And the play should still work. You see, you don't need too much time for it even, because you can throw it a little bit earlier, so it's probably a little bit better than the deep corner one, which is nice as well. So that's going to be it for Y out. Let's hop into our next play, which is going to be spot here, and this play is really good as well. So these are going to be your 2 money makers. I specifically love the way this corner out is ran with Garrett Wilson here. It's good against man coverage. This one is a little bit more clear cut, but it's going up the field more, so it's a little bit worse. First setup, streak B, throw X on a zig. Solid setup all around. You're going to have a lot of different things against stock cover 3. A is going to be your guy, but the table is open as well, and the zig is open. So you have a couple of different things. This play against man coverage is going to be really good, and this is something that you can kind of quick snap as well. So X is actually already on a zig, so you don't have to do that at all. He flies here, assuming people are running cover 0, because most people will blitz if they're running man coverage. That guy would be wide open, and then Garrett Wilson should also get separation. So it's a good play against man. If it is cover 3 and you want a little bit more space, you can go ahead and motion this guy out. Again, feel free to do that. You have Brees Hall that's going to be open as well. You see we get about 7 yards there. You'll take it. Overall, you can't complain. Next setup is going to be pretty similar. You're just going to slant X instead. And this is just going to give you a nice little middle option. Really, it's going to be a quick read. So if you're getting a blitz, he's going to be your hot. You get the ball out of your hands, you throw it to him, and you can have success that way. Again, you can motion out Corey Davis in this as well. Later in the play, you have your corner routes, so you can hit Garrett Wilson right here. And if you throw that slant enough, you're going to force his user to come down and defend it. So that's going to be kind of what you're dealing with there. And overall, solid play. You could kind of run it vice versa. It doesn't work as well because the spacing, but you could kind of do that. And I was trying to hit Y, but we stepped up too far. So that's a good setup. Again, that one is mainly a man coverage beater. So if they were running man coverage, slant X, I'm in the wrong play, slant X, streak B, again, another quick snap type of a setup. Boom, Y fries, your slant should get separation. Again, this formation not as great against press, just because those guys, or against man, because those guys are getting pressed, but if you have the receivers, they should get open. Next setup, what we're going to do here is turn this into kind of a post. We're going to motion over Lazard here, turn him into a post. Then we're going to go ahead and you can streak B or you can drag him. I like to streak X and drag B. So here's your setup. You can block your running back as well, or you can keep him. This is a nice little spacing concept. You're trying to open up Alan Lazard here. You got instant shedded, and that is another reason. It's a longer developing route, so that is why maybe you want to block Brees Hall here, because he's not a guy that I'm really looking for. We're trying to hit Alan Lazard here, so he keeps running into the D-line, which is really annoying, but he can get open there easily. You have the corner out. If it ends up being man coverage, this plays solid against man as well. So last play is going to be PA seams. This setup, sometimes I'll just come out, run stock immediately, see what we can get. A lot of times you can fit in things like the streak. If it's cover 2, you can fit in Corey Davis on the right, and if it is man coverage or cover 2, what you can do is like streak this. You can hit Alan Lazard. Cover 3, not so much, but if you wait, then you can hit him. So it's a play I'll run maybe once a drive if I'm running tight. I don't run it too often, but it can work. As far as quick setups, I like throw X on a little slant here. Again, you can highball this route all day long. Typically, your tight end will be there, so it'll be a bigger body, and that's going to do it for gun tight offset tight end. All right, moving on, we got bunch tight end. Now, bunch tight end is going to be another solid formation. It's actually pretty good this year. I might start running it a bit. Triple out, inside zone, X spot, and PA boot over are your audibles. We are going to start out with triple out, and we're going to keep our gun bunch on that left side, preferably probably on the wide side for most of these, although some of them may work from the short side. Hint, hint, the crossing route. For this play, you have a deeper corner out. I like to smart out that typically. So we're going to smart out that. We're going to streak Y, throw X on a little drag here, and then again, you can block your running back. So this play is just a decent thing. I like Garrett Wilson here, but you may have to throw it to Alan Lazard. You can do that. These plays are going to be better against cover 2 and man coverage. The second setup may work a little bit for cover 3, but again, with this deep corner out, it's not going to be cover 3 unless you really motion them out, and even then, it's so deep, that it's difficult to complete. So this is going to be a look at a Tampa 2. Let's say he's running DB fire 2. Boom. You wait a little, just enough, then he can pass you that outside again. You have to wait. If you throw it early, the safety that you can click on, make a play. If he has a knockout, then it's going to get knocked out. So be aware of your surroundings. Again, smart out B, streak Y, drag X. Bada bing, bada boom. Again, spacing wise, you're always going to have to throw the drag. The tight end does nothing, but he does pull him up. So really, you're trying to hit the corner out, so you typically won't be able to user that. If it's man coverage, I'm going to run that next. But we will show our next setup. So our next setup is going to be smart route B, streak Y, drag A. And what we're going to do is just motion over X. Why can I not put this idiot on a drag? Okay, there we go. So we're going to motion over X. This is going to move his out route to an in route, so it's going to create a little... But again, I like this setup. So drag A, smart route B, streak Y, and again, you could streak X if you want. It doesn't really matter. It just saves time because X already is on this in route. Here it is against cover 3. Again, you don't do much with B over here. You're lofting it. I caught it there, but anyone good would click on pick it. So man in cover 2 is going to be your style. Last play for this, we're going to flat X, slant Y, smart route B. And again, you can block your running back. This is another play that you're never going to want to run against cover 2, but you can definitely run it against Tampa 2, and it should be able to get open. Again, it actually doesn't really work too well against cover 2 with the corner out, but you have a couple of other options to throw it to. Man coverage, this is probably more of a man beater. So smart route B, we are going to slant Y, flat X, snap it here. You have a slant. This tight end route should get some kind of separation as long as you have a halfway decent tight end. And there you pretty much have it. Alright. So moving on, we got PA boot over. This is a concept that I mentioned would probably work better from the other side. It's debatable. I typically will use this one as more of a crossing route because it's going to be closer anyway to proximity, so it doesn't really matter too much. First setup, standard, streak A. It's not something I really will run against man coverage because you only have 2 routes. It's typically easier user, but against zone, this is a good play. You get to the line, you snap it, and you're going to hit your boy Hardman here. He's going to drop the ball, but definitely a solid play. Probably a little bit better again if they're base aligned. So again, streaking A, you cannot really hit A there. Now you have a little bit more space with their baseline. Again, most times the corner's going to be out wide if it is cover 3. So it's a little bit more realistic if it is cover 2. You come out, streak A, boom. It's going to eat as well, but you have 2 guys really open, B, and this guy, again, X is really just a deep chaser. You could do a couple of different things with X just because he's almost useless. He does pull up the zones, but you could throw him on a little backside curl, something like this. I wouldn't hate it because he doesn't do much anyway, so having a little bailout, it doesn't hurt. So that's your first setup. Moving on to our second setup, what you're going to do here is just streak A, and we're going to put Breece Hall here on a man-beating route. So I like this play for man coverage. It just gives me an extra route. I didn't really like the other setup, but having this, it helps a ton because now you have Breece Hall on this man-beating route and it brings the eyes to the other side of the field. Now he gets stuck on like glue, but that's because it was a safety. Against the linebacker, he should fry. So hope that he's man up. Who is this guy? Well, he's a pretty. I think he's a pretty good linebacker. He's definitely gonna fry if you throw him outside, but throwing him inside, he should really work as well. Nonetheless, Garrett Wilson gets open here. Your crosser gets open. Looks like we have a little bit more separation on the running back route. So that's a solid play against man. It's going to work against all your same zones. Breece Hall will be open against all of the zones. So cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. Next up we're going to go with is going to be something a little bit different here. We're going to throw B on a slant. We're going to still streak our tight end. We're going to put Breece Hall on the opposite side here, and I am in the wrong play, but here we go. And then we're going to put B on a slant. We're going to motion him across. So this is just going to give us something more to look at. Just some more motion. Gives us another option. Again, this is going to be pretty bad against cover 3, clearly, because the streak doesn't do much from that spot. But it's going to be good against cover 2. It's going to be good against man coverage. Should be good against cover 4. So let's go to cover 2, for example. Again, here's a look at what you're doing. Motion is a little bit weird this year, but you see the space we get with Garrett Wilson. He was open on that last play as well. The crosser we all know is going to be open against cover 2, and you have Breece Hall, he's going to be open. So that is going to be your next setup. Moving on to our fourth setup with this play. What you're going to do here is something a little bit different. We're going to kind of try and create a cover 3 beater. This works not greatly, but it does work. Streak B, throw B on an out route, block your tight end, and throw RB on a wheel. Now, it's going to help if they're base aligned, I believe. Obviously, we have Allen Lazard here who has negative speed, but I would definitely smart out him. And you want to snap the ball. And you can fit him in right about there. Again, if that's Garrett Wilson or someone else, you're getting close to a touchdown. But just another man beater and a cover 3 beater that can work. This is another thing that worked, I think, Madden 21 more so, but still a really good setup. Again, smart out X, wheel RB, block that tight end, be on an out route, and you get some extra time. Boom. It's a really solid play. Breece Hall really ends up being open as well. So overall, good concept. I am going to actually update once again. Alright. So, yeah, not too much else to that play. If you don't get that post open, you're really screwed. So, don't overuse that because he will be able to catch on. But that's why you have the out route. Hesitate for a second, and he should be able to get over the top. So, let's move into our next formation, which is our last formation. It's going to be the bunch strong offset. Really interesting formation. You really saw it a little bit in Madden 22, I think. But it is really good this year. You have a couple of really unique plays. My audibles go as follow. We go corner strike, flood, Durham, and wide trail. I don't really run Durham, but I have setups for all the other plays. I don't have too many setups, but this formation could be kind of dangerous. You have a lot of unique stuff here. We're going to start out with wide trail here. And with this play, you have a lot of good stuff. You have Conklin on a angle route. You have drag. You have a corner out. I like this backside post with Garrett Wilson. You could smart out that. Get that a little bit shorter. I don't say that, but you could. Anyways, first up, we're going to do streak B. Throw a running back on a little out route to the left. And then we're going to motion out Allen Lazard. So against cover 3, the corner out should be open. Then you have 3 really good routes in the middle of the field here. They're all man-beating routes as well, so this play is very, very good. First read, Breece Hall. Don't get the stupid animation that I just got, and you should be fine. Your second read should be Garrett Wilson, because he is going to be kind of sitting in this middle of the field spot. You throw it on break, and we just have all the space in the world. Again, everyone is pulled down. The right linebacker's pulled to the side by the angle route and the corner out. And the left guy's pulled down by Breece Hall, so it is important that you use Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson's probably open anyways, and again, you don't have to run the short side. You can definitely run it wide side, but if you're just audibling formation to formation, this is probably the way it ends up if you go from trips to bunch. Our next read is going to be this corner out over here, which you can definitely hit in. Hopefully you can make a possession catch on the sideline because it is going to be tight. If it's on the wide side, it's an easier pass to complete. And your last read is going to be angle route. So again, this play might be one of the best all around in Madden. You have your angle route. I love these routes. They should kill man coverage as well. So really good play. That would work against zone and man, cover 3, cover 2, cover 4, basically everything. Our next setup that I like with this is zigging B. I will block my running back in this particular case. And what you can do with this play is I like actually motioning him over to the opposite side. So I'm going to smart out X again, but we motion him over this time. Motion him over. This just gives us another route here. It's going to help pulling him down. If you have to block 6 because he's sending a blitz, this is what you would probably go ahead and do because you can't send Breece Hall out, so this is going to be kind of your alternative to that. Now, this is more of a man coverage play for sure because you have no chance at completing that corner out without a streak. Against cover 3, probably against cover 2 as well. So man coverage, I like this play. You have your corner out, you have your angle route, you have Garrett Wilson. So give yourself a couple of options there. And then you can throw Breece Hall if you're able to on like a maybe out route to the right. So that's going to be it for wide trail. Moving on, we got corner strike. Now I do actually really like corner strike against this cover 3 for some reason. It's really easy setup. All I do is run stock corner strike and I throw RB on a streak. And I like the way that Garrett Wilson runs this corner out a ton, like a ton. He gets really open on it, and it's unlike the corner strike in West Coast bunch. He runs it a lot smoother. He runs it a lot more concise to the sidelines rather than going vertically up the field. Is not going to be ready for it because nobody really ever worries about that receiver. And we're in the wrong play, of course. It's not a play that you see often, and it is something that could for sure catch him off guard. So I think I actually was in the right play. My stupid player just doesn't update sometimes. But what else do you have? You have a corner out here from Lazard. You have a flat. One of these guys will surely usually be open. If it's man, Lazard can cook. Breece Hall, I love this route a lot from Breece. So I'm going Breece. You can hit RB in the slot there, or you can hit Lazard if you have to wait. So check down, hit Breece Hall. If you can wait, you can hit that C route and it will do numbers. Our last play is going to be Flood. Now, Flood is interesting. I love this little tight end route. I think I could maybe work on a cover 3 beater out of this play. But what you would need is a wide receiver apprentice because you need to throw RB on the corner route, which you just don't have access to. But if you have the time, A is going to be open. You see, you do need a lot of time for it. So that's why I'm usually going to keep my running back blocked. But if you have 3-man rush that you're facing, which you can go ahead and do, just throw a Brees on this little route to the other side and hope that you can roll out. Because again, rolling out is good this year. So use it. It's like a 35-yard corner route and it can work. So you have a little backside in route, pretty much everything you need. But overall, that is going to do it for the video. Again, for that written version, check down below in the description. I should be probably updating all these bugs I had in it before I post it. But it should be good to go. I think it's a really good value deal, and this is an easy way to get a head start on this Madden year. I'm dropping an ebook. You guys can master this ebook before the actual version of the game releases. So just having that step ahead, the first weekend league, you're going to be money. And I hope you guys enjoyed. I might drop a 4-6 defensive ebook like this as well. Once we get a couple more setups down, let me know what else you want to see. And that's going to do it for me. Peace. I'm out of here.